Hello folks, JustSteepIt here. It's not long until the next Ubisoft Forward is held at E3, and I do hope we get some Riders Republic news, or even some sort of gameplay feature or trailer. The biggest hope, of course, is that we finally get a new release date. So, in light of the upcoming E3 announcement, I went on a cheeky walk and asked on my Instagram story what all you lovely folk that follow hope will be in Riders Republic, what features you desperately want, and what are your expectations. Right, so no messing about, let's have a look at what you want. Alright, we're going to kick off with level design. This chap asked for a big map. I'm not quite sure what type of quantitative measurement will please this person, but hey, you never know. It's great to have massive expectations. And the follow-up is new tricks and a better map. We will come on to tricks later in the video, but I do find it interesting that they've used the word better. I imagine they're referencing the maps within Steep, and maybe he wasn't a big fan. So, just a review of these two requests. Let's be fair, if you're a fan or not of Ubisoft, they're always consistent in one area of gaming, and that is map size and design. We've seen it in the Assassin's Creed series, The Crew, Watch Dogs, Division, and of course Steep, to name a few. So, my personal expectations is that they're likely to smash it with the map and level design of Riders Republic. I think this is the first time we've ever seen so many unique environments from the US national parks mashed into one giant playground for gamers. With such a unique spin on this extreme sports world design, I am sure this will become an iconic map that we will reflect on positively in the years to come. So, kicking off gameplay requests, we have better trick calling. And I 100% agree with this one. Come on folks, we've all been there. You throw a quad rodeo 1800 in Steep and the game magically calls it a cork 360, which causes people to absolutely lose their minds. This person states they would like to see baggy ass clothes, better ski options, better rail physics, better rotations, stees... I think ultimately what they want is a full redesign of Steep and ensure that nothing is recycled or reused for Rise Republic. But yeah, personally, I wear baggy snowboard clothing in real life, and in Steep, most of the outfits are a bit too tight-fitting for my liking. In terms of better ski options, rail physics, etc., I would say, yeah, absolutely, make the player have more freedom, but ultimately not too simulator feeling. I think what Steep did right was have a good balance between simulation and arcade and didn't steer too hard in either direction. Next up, we got two requests relating to tricks. First one is trick creation, and the second is simply more tricks. Well, for a start, we know there will definitely be new tricks in this game, as the dev blog titled Answering Your Riders Republic Questions states there will be 12 tricks for each category of sport, totaling up to 72 unique tricks. So for skiing and snowboarding, there are snowpark and off-track categories with 12 tricks each, so I'm sure we'll see a ton of variety. Now, when it comes to trick creation, I think this is a hard one for AAA game studios. The ultimate issue is moderation and exploitation. It works well in Shred Source since the only aim of Shred Source is to simulate skiing. But when it comes to games that have point scoring features, warping your character into weird and odd positions may have consequences or unfair advantages. Don't get me wrong, I love trick creation, but just imagine news articles saying that Ubisoft allows you to have your character's head wedged up your posterior. It just doesn't look good. Following on the customization topic, we do have a request for customizable skis. So another top request for sure, but it's one hell of a moderation ask for Ubisoft. They'd literally have to employ a full-time staff to review every single equipment design submitted. So personally, I would love to rep Italian snowboard designs, but it only takes one person to ruin the whole system by creating something that's not safe for work or of extremist nature. We do know there is something called paint coming up that's being advertised in some promotional offers. I imagine this might be some predetermined designs that can be applied to the equipment. And look, I know it doesn't fulfill this request, but I'm kind of happy with how many brands have been listed in the game so far. And as long as they keep them refreshed with new stock, I'm sure it'll keep most people happy. We got a request for a real difference in equipment, especially between freestyle and freeride skis. So this has been more or less confirmed by the previous blog post I mentioned, as they have categories for both ski and snowboard named Snowpark and Off Track, which I think are just consumer friendly names of saying freestyle and freeride or park and off-piste. A dedicated slush mode, now this would be sick. We've seen there's been a big focus on trick battles and mass races from the trailers, so offering a 1v1 mode like this would just add another dimension to the game. Imagine having a cheeky toxic session in a mass race and you needed to sort it with a slush 1v1 afterwards. It would be perfect in my eyes, absolutely perfect. The next two are probably the biggest requests we've seen in most extreme sports games, and that's user-generated content. I'm kind of surprised I didn't have more of these. The first one we got was make your own park. That would be the big stees, followed by player-hosted events, make your own level, and compete with friends on it. Both are superb ideas, of course. If there's one thing we need, it's the ability to create some sick levels for all of the sports within Riders Republic. Like, imagine shredding an insanely awesome made park, followed up by some wacky, infuriating bike stunt course which requires time and patience. And doing it with friends and other players is what will give it that extra bit of fun and life. I really like the player-hosted event idea, like have it all contained within the game with branding such as Nick and Mitch's Tartafleck Games. Yikes. Please hit it. Looks like we've identified who isn't a fan of worker bees, and I've only got one thing to say to that. Blasphemy. But yeah, I get you. The Steep soundtrack was primarily full of unknown and underground artists, which in one sense was really good for exploring new music, but on the other hand, a lot of the tracks were really weak and quite generic. We've already had some confirmed leaks about the soundtrack from the ESRB rating, and based off what I've heard, I think it's going to be a banger, guys. An absolute banger of a soundtrack. Switch sports mid-air with a ton of crying, laughing emojis. So this is another request which has been confirmed by the dev blogs. It looks like based off the information at hand, we will be able to switch sports on the fly. So imagine this, skiing off the side of a cliff and then swapping to wingsuiting and flying away. Kinda unrealistic, but also extremely fun and adds to the momentum of the game. This feature's already in another Ubisoft game called The Crew, and I imagine the mechanics will work the same, or albeit quite similar. A map like Steep's. I'm not a fan of the 2D one they showed in the trailer. So I can get why this comment was made. The benefit of Steep's 3D map is that you can zoom in on interesting locations and inspect the environment before dropping in and also getting a feel of the terrain. With a 2D map, you can't quite do this. You're kind of just dropping in blindly. But I guess there are some benefits, such as it's easier on the eye, navigation is a bit simpler, and it's quicker to identify map icons such as places of interest or challenges. We shall see how it pans out, folks. Better mobility when walking and to be faster. An interesting request indeed. I think when it comes to walking, some things could be added, such as the ability to step up onto a ledge or walk upstairs, for example. But in all honesty, when it comes to development, I feel like they would just prioritize other things such as level design and the sports themselves. Keyframes. Absolutely 110% agree with this. Or at least some improvements to the basic replay function that we got in Steep. Don't get me wrong, as a community, we've done very well with the replay mode, but it's outdated and Riders Republic just deserves something more modern. More now than ever, gamers like to express their gaming journeys on social media platforms, and not being able to capture a potentially amazing world with extreme sports would just be somewhat criminal. I can only dream of what the Steep edits could have been with keyframes and enhanced features. Even better ambiances and colourful skies. So with it being a whole new world based in the United States national parks, I really don't think they could recycle many of the ambiances from Steep. My guess is that it's going to have its own feeling, its own vibe to the map, and just potentially change on what national park you're currently playing. But hey, here's to hoping it's going to look amazing. photo mode with more customization and freedom than Steep. So this is a big one for me too. I love taking photo in Steep. My Instagram is littered with it. But it is a lack in photo mode in all honesty. When I played other games like Horizon Zero Dawn and Valhalla, it blew my mind with how feature heavy the photo modes were. They had aperture, lots of borders, proper zoom controls, orbit controls, temperature, noise, bloom, etc, etc. And then when I went back to Steep and took a photo, it was just a bit underwhelming. So I really do hope they've looked at other games and taken inspiration from their photo modes, because it would just be such a shame to not be able to capture what appears to be an amazing looking extreme sports game. Now we got cross-platform multiplayer, good replay and photo modes. Well, we've covered replay and photo modes, so let's focus on cross-platform multiplayer. So whilst it's not confirmed officially yet that the game is cross-platform, the good news is that the game is on the Ubisoft Connect platform, which does indeed have cross-platform multiplayer support. My god, I said platform way too many times. Anyway, all that's been confirmed so far is that you can save your progression on multiple platforms. So for example, if you swap from PS4 to PC, you'll be able to keep your account progress with the same Connect login rather than create a new profile from scratch. But if this game is going to be this huge extreme sports game thriving with players, then it would be a bit bonkers in my opinion not to have crossplay. It's 2021 folks, and the market is slowly moving to cross-platform multiplayer. So fingers crossed we get some news on this soon. Pullback glitch, safety glitch, wrong way glitch, ambience glitch, all the old familiar ones.
What the hell?
I'm not quite sure what has possessed this chap, but man, he is aching for all of the glitches and exploits from Steep to be back in the game. But in all seriousness, I really do hope that a lot of the frustrating bugs mentioned don't cross into Rise Republic. I think we've all been victim of your character ruining a good looking replay clip by doing a safety grab constantly or something or another. Folks, thank you for watching. Do let me know down in the comments if there's anything you want to see that's been missed off in this video. And fingers crossed we get some news soon.